My name is Bill White. I'm an Alderman-At-Large for the City of Somerville, and I'm running for re-election. Let's say I've been an alderman now. This is my 20th year. So I've been involved for a decent number of years, and I think playing an important role in a lot of the important decisions that we've had to make as a community in the past, and I look forward to being involved in the important decisions that we have to make as a community going forward as we develop and take into account all of the changes that our city is undergoing. First is you have to study yourself to understand what the implications are of things that are being proposed and their ramifications on neighborhoods, the population that we have, the housing stock, for instance. And also because it does impact the people who reside in the community, you have to have as public a process as possible. First, to allow the public to have knowledge of what the different proposals are and what their implications are, and then to allow the public to weigh in, to have informed discussion, debate, and taking all of those things into account, as well as making sure that you have input from those who are skilled in the particular issues, the development issues. Not that they should be the determining ones, but again, to have input and then reach an informed decision. That's how I look at it. It is a multi-stepped process. But again, because when you do change the community that folks are living in, then you should make sure that the community themselves have a large role to play in making those decisions.
And how do we bring up voter turnout?
In a way, the city can do the best it can through things like the Resistat newsletter. As a community changes and as the way people in a community learn about things. Now, if you went to Somerville, say 20, 30 years ago, you used to have local print newspapers that played a large role. Many people who lived in the community would either subscribe to it or they would buy it on a weekly basis. So they would read the news that was happening in the community, and then they would talk to one another. So things that were of import would be generated through like the newspapers and then people talking to one another in a community setting. As our community has changed, as people no longer really rely on print media, it's much more difficult. So a lot of it has to do with social networking, which the city does do tweeting, it does do Facebook and individual candidates as well. It's very there's more of a burden, I think, on them to try to get the vote out as well.
How important is public access television?
Well, I think public access, television is very important. I've, through the course of my years in office, I've always, tried to work with Community Access TV whenever they've had events or anything, to always participate. I know recently, a couple months ago, they had filming, offered for all of the candidates to give a little bit of a discussion of their platform, for instance, and I definitely took advantage of that. I know in the past elections, our Community Access TV has had debates hosted by Joe Lynch, and I've always participated in those as well. So yes, it's a very important component.
How do you feel we're at risk right now because of the current administration?
Well, at least as far as funding goes for our local cable access TV, it should not be impacted because that's as a result of the contract that the city enters into with regard to the cable TV providers, and then the funding that we take from that to provide to like the local organization. So on our own, we can make sure that funding maintains is available for our local groups to take advantage of. Public broadcasting, that's something that is at a congressional level. So at a local level, we can certainly do resolutions, but that's something more, that's more of something that our congressional delegation has to play a role in. And again, it's very difficult what's going on in Congress as well.
We're made up so much of so many immigrants that have come here. We're a melting pot of diversity.
Right.
How are you affected by DACA?
Well, actually, as a member of the Board of Aldermen, back in, I believe it was 2010, the Somerville Board of Aldermen unanimously supported a resolution in favor of the DREAM Act. Now, Congress never approved the DREAM Act, so it was through administrative action of the Obama administration that you had DACA. Now the Trump administration, is doing away with that. So actually, I'm in the process of drafting a resolution again asking the Board of Aldermen to support the DREAM Act, which hopefully will be on the agenda for this Thursday's meeting. So what we try to do in Somerville is through our zoning ordinance. We have an affordability housing ordinance that now has a 20% component for new development. So that's one of the ways. Also through zoning is to protect existing residential neighborhoods so that they don't become ripe for, say, developers to come and knock down entire neighborhoods and then do away with existing, say, 2, 3 multifamily housing and put in large developments. So a lot of it is done through the planning aspects of zoning. So thank you.
Thank you.